Alright guys, Paul back here again with a new video, and I'll be honest, this is one I've been excited to share with you for quite some time. As the title below says, this is going to be a detailed look at the brand new WrestleTalk Jam That Championship. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. There will be another video of this belt coming up in the next few days, and that will be a full making of the belt video. So if you enjoyed this, stick around for that, I would appreciate it. But there's no point wasting any more time. The belt is inside here. I mean, you've all seen it in the thumbnail, let's be honest. We've got a nice Support WrestleTalk belt bag here with my logo and my web address details below. And nice velvet belt bag. And inside of here, let us take a look. There it is. That is, let's be honest, quite a ridiculous looking belt. But before we get too far into this video, I must say it was an absolute pleasure dealing with the guys at WrestleTalk, and it has been an absolute joy to craft this belt for them. So let's take a detailed look. Right, as you can see, the belt out on the table here, this is a 3-plate belt. The plates themselves are finished in nickel and gold dual plating, so it creates a nice contrast between the colours of the plating, especially among some of the more intricate details to the side of the center plate, as well as these circular patterns around the side plates. Those side plates also have 2 cubic zirconia stones each, top and bottom, of the WrestleTalk logo. It kind of adds a nice little sparkle to the belt. I should mention before we get too far into this, I collaborated with WrestleTalk on this belt. I had a few video calls with Pete, Ollie and Rich over at WrestleTalk, and after a little bit of back and forth, their design team came up with this full design, and I basically converted it into what is suitable to be made into a physical championship belt. So a little bit of collaboration on that, but most of the credit belongs to their design team. Of course, a few things to point out. WrestleTalk logo is pretty prominent on this belt. Kind of G.I. Joe color scheme of the logo. We've got it, of course, at the top of the center plate. It features heavily on both the side plates as well as in the banner, and this nice little wrestling ring at the bottom of the plates. We'll get into that. I'll quickly go over the strap initially as well, just to kind of give a good overview of the entire belt. So starting off with the left-hand side, I was given complete creative freedom on this, so I kind of wanted to do something a little bit traditional, but at the same time, brand heavy. We kind of want to make this as obnoxiously branded as possible. So starting off with the leather strap, you'll see my signature hidden sort of in the strap here along this kind of center line that goes up to the side plates. And of course, the big WrestleTalk logo stamped into the leather there. So this kind of comes with a traditional style, kind of mid-2000s style strap. This is the kind of tooling that was used on those, of course, with the addition of the center line with the WrestleTalk in it. The part around that is also textured as well, so it has a nice kind of contrast and allows the WrestleTalk lettering to really pop out and kind of stand out from the rest of the leather. And of course finished with 2x8 rows of nickel snaps. Nice sealed up leather edges there, looking really good. Of course that line does continue up until the border of the side plates there. So as we move along, the inner part of the strap features this kind of shell design. This is what was used on a lot of the mid-2000s belts as well. Most prominently, probably the WWE Big Gold belt featured this tooling around it. So it's a style that I like to use, so I continued that on this belt. And of course you can see that continues top and bottom of the center plate itself and continues around the other side plate here. Moving on to the right hand side of the strap, and this is kind of the cool part of the strap. We do have, of course, the Jam That Jam logo, identical to the one on the center plate. It features on the strap right here. I like doing kind of custom leather details like this to kind of give the belt a little more originality to it. So it's not just the plates that are kind of customized, that the strap has its own kind of tie-in to the design itself. So they gave me complete freedom on the leather strap design, so I basically got to do what I wanted to do for fun on this belt. And of course we have another WrestleTalk logo in the leather here in the 2x5 snaps on this side, of course, so you can see there. Similar style to the other side, with that center kind of line going from the end of the strap up to the border of the side plates. And of course it is textured as the other side, as I mentioned already. I must say I I really love the Jam That Jam in the leather. I don't know if it is my favourite part of this belt, but it's kind of subtly the coolest little out of place bit on this belt, I would probably say. It does have black leather on the rear of this belt. We'll go on to that a little bit later on. But moving on to the plates themselves, we'll start off with the side plates. So of course, as mentioned, these are dual plated, which means gold and nickel finishing on the plates. So the lighting, I'm not sure if you can catch all of it, but we've got kind of this silver wreath going around the main portion of the center plate, of the side plate, sorry. Hopefully you can see the contrast between the silver kind of ring and then the gold ring around the main portion of the side plate, and all these little circular designs are all left in nickel while the surrounding area is gold, which, if you check out the video of making this belt, you'll see how much of a pain in the ass that was to do. Another difficult bit of plating work that most people probably wouldn't even notice is the inner part of the logo is left silver, the border of that, then the outer border is gold. That's just a personal preference thing on my part. I like doing these kind of subtle bits of dual plating right next to each other. Yeah, personally I just think it looks cool. It kind of adds a little bit more colour to each part, and I quite enjoy doing little custom subtle bits like that. You'll see of course the kind of border, the stone holder for the cubic zirconias are gold as well, and as mentioned those wreaths are silver. The other side plate is literally just identical, the exact same design, so hopefully you can see quite well the details there. I do enjoy doing the silver border on the inside of a gold border. I think it does look quite good, and it kind of gives it a nice different contrast when they catch the light together. So hopefully that's quite a good shot of those silver and gold borders. Really pleased with this belt, I must say. And onto the center plate, which is of course the main kind of the centerpiece, for lack of a better word, of this belt. Of course we do have the WrestleTalk logo up top again, as mentioned. We have the WrestleTalk banner at the bottom with continuing their logo, and a little wrestling ring at the bottom of the plate there, which does have the WrestleTalk logo on the ring aprons. Now, the most complex part of this belt was doing this floral design. I don't know where the best lighting would be, but if you can see all the kind of weave patterns, those parts are all left in silver, the nickel silver color, whereas the surrounding areas are all gold, which, I'm not gonna lie, if you check out that detailed look at making this belt, you'll see how much I hated doing this part. Of course, these floral patterns at the top are nickel as well, surrounded by the gold in the background, the banner, Jam That Championship, and of course the big jam, I don't know what this belt will be nicknamed. I have a bad feeling like the Winged Eagle is a famous belt design. Is this going to be the Winged Jam Jar? I hope not. It's a terrible name, but it wouldn't surprise me. I really enjoy this. You'll see the WrestleTalk logo here is left in nickel there, so it catches the light beautifully against all the gold plating around it. You'll see it's covered in fingerprints now. I apologise for that. It's as I'm handling this belt during the video. That's quite a good angle there. You can hopefully see of the difference between the gold and the nickel there in the floral pattern, as well as the parts near the bottom. I also enjoy this kind of rope border. As you can see, the outside of the border is gold, whereas the rope itself is left in nickel, so a nice contrast there, if you can tell. Of course, most of the details on this belt are filled in with black paint. I actually don't think there is any exposed actual etching on this belt, which is a bit different to a lot of the things I do. I tend to keep my designs a little less paint heavy, but this one having kind of really thin bits of paint really kind of makes the contrast in the nickel and the gold pop a lot more. So I actually really enjoy doing it on this style of belt. I think it's well suited to this. I should mention these are 3.2mm plates, so completely ring usable belt this. This is a kind of a premium quality belt that we did for the lads at WrestleTalk. And of course that Jam jam jar is the kind of the central focal point of this belt. Yeah, when you first look at the belt, kind of a strange design. It kind of looks all traditional, and then there's a winged jam jar in the center of it, which I appreciate. I think it's cool. Others might question it a little bit more. Of course, that wrestling ring at the bottom is nickel with the surrounding area all gold as well. Hopefully you can see the nice contrast between these floral bits. Okay, I'm going to flip the belt over so we can just take a look at the entirety of the belt. We'll take a look at the rear of this. Right, on the rear of the belt here, you can see all the screws which are used to fasten the plates onto the strap. We've got this nice, beautiful, smooth black leather backing here covering all of those up. We, of course, leave the female side of the snaps exposed so it can fasten together, but on the male side we can cover those up because there's no need to leave those exposed. You can obviously see all the screw studs on the rear here covered up beautifully with the leather backing. So the belt was literally finished 2 days ago, and yeah, it's a pretty good one, I'll be honest. The flexibility of the leather is really quite outstanding in this belt's case, especially for such a brand new belt. Right, something you might question if you haven't been a subscriber of mine before, on circular plates you often have the bolt pattern similar to this, but you kind of have it center screw top and bottom and then center screw at the sides. For me, I don't like doing those on circular plates simply because when you lift up the belt kind of like that, all the weight, all the pressure would then be on one screw holding that in place, and if the belt takes a fall, if it takes a really kind of hard hit, that one screw could break. So my preference is always to do a square pattern on side plates, even if they are circular, because when you lift the belt up there, there's screw there and there holding it in place, so there's not really as much of a risk of it breaking. Even if one were to break, then you've got another holding it in place. It's a similar story to the center plate here. You can see at the side of the center plate I have 2 screws there, as opposed to just having one central screw and then maybe some up here instead. It's just a personal preference on my part. It's kind of a security thing, just to make sure the belt stays in one piece, it stays strong, and yeah, it doesn't get damaged and need replaced. Right, I feel people will probably ask to kind of see the flexibility of the leather and things like that. So of course, yeah, there's no issues flexibility wise there. Yeah, the leather on this belt is premium leather, premium backing leather, and yeah, really pleased with that. So it's a really flexible belt. It has really strong welds on the back, so unless they treat the belt like Stone Cold used to throw his belts about, it should survive for many years. Guys, don't destroy the belt, please. Right, I think that's just about everything there was to show about this belt. If you did enjoy this, please do subscribe and like this video. As mentioned before, there is going to be a very in-depth video of the making of this belt coming up on my channel very shortly. If you like the belt, we will have replicas available in the near future from WrestleTalk and myself. If you want a real copy of it like this, I'm not sure if we're doing that, contact WrestleTalk. Say you want one handmade by me. They might be willing to license it, we'll see. No details on that yet, so I'm not sure. But yeah, as mentioned before, it was an absolute pleasure on my part to get to work on this belt for the lads over at WrestleTalk. I'm very much looking forward to seeing them enjoying this belt and using this belt on their videos, on their streams. But yeah, that being said, if you like this video, stick around. There's a lot more fun belt videos coming very soon. Thank you very much for watching. Cheers.
Yo, monkeys, it's me, DDP. And if you want to get one of the greatest belts made for you, go to Paul Martin Belts. That's right, sucker.